name is Keith Lorren, the King of Spice, and I invented cooking.
Super Bowl is among us at last. We can finally sit down and have a nice meal together and have fun watching that game. So this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how to make the most juicy, tender, flaky meatball you've ever had in your life, full of flavor. This is how we do it. We're going to start off with something that I always do in the videos, which is making a green seasoning paste. Bell peppers, 2 scallions, 2 cloves of garlic, a little bit of onion, and we're going to puree it until it forms a nice paste. Then we're going to also add a few generous spoons of homemade beef stock to help liquefy it further and to really allow those flavors to come out of those ingredients. This is going to make our meatball really nice and moist as well. This is the texture what we're looking for. It's almost like a jelly, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So next we're going to take 1 pound of quality ground beef. We're going to add an egg, 3/4 cups of panko breadcrumbs. We're going to start seasoning it with our broth. We're going to add about a 1/2 cup of our concentrated beef stock that we made. We're going to add 2 generous dollops of mayonnaise, which is going to also help with that moisture content. We're going to add a few tablespoons of our green seasoning paste, a generous splash of buttermilk. Buttermilk is going to tenderize the beef and really make it nice and moist. And we're going to also bring out the big guns. We're going to use Keith Lorren's oxtail seasoning, about 2 to 3 tablespoons. You know, I've sold hundreds of thousands of these bottles of oxtail seasoning. Everybody loves it. And we're also going to add a little bit of Keith Lorren's steak seasoning that has porcini mushrooms and onions and coffee. It's really amazing. And kosher sea salt from Greece. About a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, which is going to help with the umami. And we're going to add a few dashes of Keith Lorren's Scotch bonnet hot sauce. Listen, if you haven't tried these spices or the sauce yet, you got to go out and get it. Next, we're going to dice up about a 1/4 cup of goat cheese. And this goat cheese is pressed with rosemary for added flavor. And we're going to mix our chopped goat cheese into our 1 bar of cream cheese. And this is going to be our cheesy filling for our meatballs. So to accomplish this, we're going to take a little melon baller and we're going to make about 12 melon-sized balls, you know, with the melon scooper. And we're going to stuff these in between our meatballs. So we're going to make 12 of these, and this is how we're going to stuff it. We're going to take a generous ice cream scoop of our beef. We're going to flatten it out with our hands, you know, in the center. And we're going to place the ball directly in the center and just form it around. Now, we want to keep it even on all sides. And notice the texture of this meatball. It's the perfect texture. It's not sticky. It's moist. It keeps its shape perfectly, and this is exactly what we want. So to make this dish even greater, we're going to take 1 pound of button mushrooms. You can use any type of mushroom that you like, but I like the button ones for this dish. And we're going to cut it into nice sizes, about a 1/4 cut. And we're going to add it into our hot sizzling pan with butter. Now I want our pan really hot so that we can brown the butter. Not burn it, but get that flavor of the brown butter. And I'm adding about 4 tablespoons of butter gradually so that it can brown in stages and further flavor the mushrooms. Now don't turn it until the mushrooms have browned and caramelized just like this. And we're going to once again use Keith Lorren's steak seasoning, which has the other porcini mushrooms. It's smoked with hickory, coal, and oak and has a little bit of coffee. It's absolutely wonderful. Next, we're going to make our roux for our sauce. So I took about 3 tablespoons of butter, 3 tablespoons of flour, and we're browning it. And I'm also adding more butter gradually, about 2 more tablespoons gradually, 2 to 3 more tablespoons gradually, so that we can keep our roux kind of fluid, you know. And this is what it looks like as it's caramelizing. Next, I'm going to begin adding our homemade beef stock. Now to make this beef stock, you know, I roasted the flour just like I did in the pan. I added carrots and tomato paste and celery and oxtail and beef bones, and I just cooked it down for a few hours. But you can use a canned beef broth if you like. And I'm also adding about 3 to 4 tablespoons of our green seasoning paste to this, and I'm allowing it to cook slowly and gradually build up the flavor. Notice I'm not adding all the liquid at once. I'm adding it in stages, which is also reducing it as it cooks, further concentrating the flavor. And this is one of the secrets that's going to make our sauce so good you just want to pour it all on yourself and drink it. You know, you after tasting this, you're going to say, I invented meatballs, because that's what it tastes like. It's so good. Next, we're going to add rosemary and a Cuban liquor called Sansón. It's like a Marsala wine. My Cuban friend Dave Romano put me onto it. It's absolutely divine. It's really nice and sweet, earthy, and I'm adding about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of that. Next, we're adding 3/4 cup of brown sugar to further exemplify that sweet flavor. We're going to add a little bit more rosemary. We're going to add a 1/4 cup of vinegar. We're going to add a few teaspoons of Keith Lorren's steak seasoning for the salt content and that nice smoky backdrop, the umami that it imparts. And we're going to add a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, which is further going to add for more umami and savor, really complement this sauce perfectly. This is the secret to a good sauce, I promise. Next, we're going to add some more flavorings. We're going to add about 3 tablespoons of minced garlic, 2 teaspoons of yellow mustard, We're gonna add a bay leaf. We're gonna add freshly cracked black pepper. You're gonna adjust the flavor with a little bit more Keith Lorren's steak seasoning, a few more dashes of soy sauce, and we're gonna balance it with the acid. So we're gonna add the juice of half of a lemon, and we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of white vinegar. And we're just gonna keep whisking it all together. We're gonna taste it, make sure it's balanced, and next we're gonna make sure the texture is right. We want it nice and fluid, and to give it a nice sweetness and another depth of flavor, we're adding 3/4 cup of ketchup. This is how the sauce is gonna look. You see how it coats the bottom of that spoon? It's perfect. Now we're gonna add one of our other garnishment, which is asparagus. We're gonna season it with a little bit of olive oil. We're gonna cut it all the same length. We're gonna cut off those rough ends, and we're gonna douse it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. We're gonna sprinkle it with a little bit of Keith Lorren's steak seasoning. I can't say enough about this spice, especially on vegetables. I know it's for steak, but the flavor is just so exquisite. You gotta put it on everything. And it's especially good on this asparagus. Season it well, rub it gut down good. So I bought myself a nice grill pan, and I'm spreading the asparagus out so that it's evenly layered and every part of it has surface with that hot pan. And these are the kind of grill marks we want, which is gonna add flavor. To plate it now, I'm putting it into our warm bowl. Look at those grill marks. And I'm gonna add another touch of Keith Lorren steak seasoning for that flavor perfection. I'm also going to add our mushrooms back into our hot grill pan to rewarm them and to further crisp them. And look at those perfect meatballs. When you cut into it, it's so creamy and savory, and the flavor of the goat and the cream cheese with that sauce is just absolutely incredible. This is how it looks when you're doing a single serving, but I'm gonna show you how to make the barbecue mountain platter. So on top of our asparagus, we're gonna stack those meatballs up with the mushrooms, some fresh parsley, and just drizzle that sauce all over it in stages. Look at that, it doesn't get any better. I promise this is gonna be the go-to meatball. You can cook this with tomato sauce or any type of sauce. Your guests are gonna go absolutely insane for this dish. I invented the cooking of meatballs.
My name is Keith Lorren, the King of Spice, and I invented cooking. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.